When I think back to my life before, I recall that a really hard time was the issues that I had in my family. So in particular, at the age of 8, I lost my brother to cancer. He was only 2 years of age. And it wasn't only that him dying was really hard for me to understand as a child, but it's the way that it affected my mother. And looking back, it really affected her emotionally and mentally. And as a result, she would treat me in ways which weren't too great at the time. And that really resulted in me developing a grudge and really having a lot of anger towards her, because of course, after a loss like that, it should bring us closer together, but then things just got worse. This caused me to feel just a lot of anger in the house. So if I would get angry, if I would get hit or anything, I'll punch walls, I'll break things, I'll just really erupt inside the house. And I had a mentality where I was willing to cut off anyone around me or anyone in the family if I felt as if they were treating me in a bad way. I remember when me and my mother had an argument in the house, and it was a really heated argument. I think the TV was broke, and then she called the police, and police ended up arriving to the house, and my mum kicked me out of the house, so I had to go and live with my grandmother. And even in living with my grandmother, eventually, again, issues there as well. I remember punching the wardrobe and my hand actually fitting right through the wardrobe. It was just all erupting inside of me, and then I had to leave the house. And it was just a lot. I heard about the church because I was walking home and a girl from my primary school was in the group who was evangelizing, and it was in my area, so I said, you know what, I'll go on Sunday. So really it was curiosity that brought me into the church. When I arrived at the Universal Church, I saw immediately that it was a serious church. I could sense it. So certain things that I would maybe do or entertain at other churches, I said, I can't do this here. And I believe that it was the word which hit me. So that's what made me come back. And I made a decision shortly afterwards to give my life to God. But there was an assistant who spoke to me and explained to me that without the Holy Spirit, I would never be fulfilled, that I would always feel as if there is something that is missing and it would affect me. So that made me think, do you know what? I actually need the Holy Spirit, because yes, I've changed in a way, but there's something that's still not there. And if I'm the same person as when I came, fundamentally, then why am I still in the church? I might as well just go live my life. So that's what inspired me to really surrender my all to God. I recall that there was a special service in the church which I wanted to receive the Holy Spirit in, and I hadn't received it. So the next day, I remember that I tuned into the Liberty radio program, and I remember after the program, I saw the Holy Spirit, but I gave everything. And I remember I just stretched out my hand and I said, I believe. And after that, I felt in that moment that I was right with God, and I received the Holy Spirit. I remember feeling so peaceful. The big thing that I knew that was different was now, when I would be in my household and things would happen or I'm provoked, I no longer had this reaction inside of me to be angry or to lash out. Now when I would think about my past and my mum and everything that happened, for some reason, it didn't hurt me anymore. If I had changed and accepted God in my life, eventually this anger that I had inside of me, I wouldn't have been able to hide it forever. I would have ended up hurting someone or doing something that would have really got me into trouble. So now I'm happy, I have joy, I have peace, I have a relationship with God. I help to inspire other people at work, at church, evangelizing on the street. I'm also in teaching as well. So even in my day-to-day job as well, I inspire young people. What it means to have your life transformed is to have the presence of God inside of you and to have power over all of the things which used to afflict you before. I'm a loving person, I have patience, I'm slow to anger, and I'm transformed inside of myself. And now I have a vision of who I want to be even in the future. And importantly, I know who I am now with God, and that's a happy person who helps out everyone who's around me.